Live from Sydney, 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
First at 4, the Premier has announced the biggest change yet to COVID restrictions, delivering a big boost to the hospitality industry. Dozens of patrons will be allowed in pubs, cafes and restaurants from June 1. For more on this, we'll bring in Chief Reporter Chris Reason. Chris, it's time for New South Wales to raise a drink again.
Yeah, that's right, Sally. Good afternoon to you. After weeks of messaging about the need for caution and gradual change, this was a major transformation of the lockdown laws policy in this state. But essentially, it's party time again in New South Wales. From June 1st, all pubs, clubs, cafes and restaurants will be able to have up to 50 patrons, and not per venue, but per room in each venue. So if your club has 6 restaurants, that's 300 people total. You don't have to be eating, you can just go there to drink. You are allowed to move between the venues inside that one establishment. Gaming is also being allowed. However, it all has to operate within the strict social distancing protocols. First of all, you have to be seated as much as possible. You can't congregate at the bar. There is no dancing. And you always have to maintain a distance of 1.5 metres separation from anyone else in that venue. Also, the maximum number of people per booking is 10. You can't book for 50 friends. And also, you have to leave your contact details with the establishment in case there's an outbreak and the authorities need to do contact tracing and follow up. Here's some of what was said today at this press conference early this afternoon.
Now, we know this is a big step, but the regulations and rules we'll be putting in place will be very strict to make sure safety is paramount.
It's time to get out, time to enjoy yourself, but also it's time to be very, very cautious because the virus is still amongst us.
Now, with these new rules coming into effect from June 1, venues have just 10 days to get their staff back. Many, of course, have had to make mass layoffs and retrenchments in recent months. But the Treasurer, Dominic Perrottet, who is believed to have driven the large majority of this, says there are 280,000 employees in the restaurant sector, and this is all about keeping them working. Others, though, do have grave concerns that this is all too rushed. The ALP, the opposition today, is saying they now have fears of a second outbreak of the coronavirus. Sally?
Thank you, Chris. Well, Treasury has revealed an error in the government's JobKeeper scheme worth a staggering $60 billion. Let's go live to Olivia Leeming in Canberra. Olivia, it's a very big chunk of change. This could have massive implications.
Sal, this news just in this afternoon carries a significant impact for the government and the cost of its JobKeeper scheme. Treasury and the Tax Office revealing that around 1,000 businesses made a reporting error when filling out their applications for the payment for their workers. Instead of writing the number of their employees, they wrote 1,500, which is the amount they expected them to receive. Now, the mistake only just revealed. It means the number of Australians receiving the subsidy has been revised down from 6.5 million to just 3.5 million, and the cost to the taxpayer far less. Instead of $130 billion, now just $70 billion. Sal?
OK, Olivia, so what does that mean then for the $60 billion that's suddenly just left over?
Well, the government yet to reveal exactly how it might spend that money, or if it even will, or claim it as a saving, though the Greens already calling this afternoon for the scheme to be extended to include some of those workers originally left out, including casuals who've been with their employer for less than a year. They also want the increased job seeker rate to now remain in place beyond the pandemic. The error could also impact the economic outlook for Australia, as well possibly the unemployment rate, given that was calculated using the assumption that more than 6 million Australians were receiving JobKeeper. We now know it's far less. And now the onus on the government to explain why this error wasn't revealed far earlier. Sal?
Yep, it's a big error. OK, thanks very much. Olivia Leeming there. There's been a major development following that horrific car crash at Greenacre shopping strip, with the driver rearrested this afternoon. Let's go live to Andrew Denny. Good afternoon to you, Andrew. The driver is now set to be charged.
Well, that's right. Initially, police let him go in the early hours of this morning, but then a few hours ago, they dramatically rearrested him, taking him here to Bankstown Police Station, where he is currently being questioned. The 51-year-old man is, of course, the driver at the centre of yesterday. Shocking scenes at Greenacre where a car smashed into the front of the Hijab House fashion outlet, injuring 14 people. He was earlier filmed at the traffic lights, running into vehicles, spinning and smoking his tyres before shunting them out of the way and then ploughing into the shop. We spoke with the owner of that shop. His sister was working at the time and she was injured. He says it is incredible that no one was killed.
Saw the counter had completely been flattened and kind of destroyed. We had staff members behind that counter. We had 2 staff members as well as customers in front of it. To me, it was a miracle that people survived.
And Andrew, we're hearing more about the state of the driver from witnesses at the scene of the crash.
Well, that's right. We spoke with a doctor who was working next door at the time. He was one of the first on scene, treating patients and assessing and trying to speak with that driver as well. What's interesting about his account is that police were initially trying to determine if this driver had suffered from a medical episode. However, now they say he will be charged. Here is what that doctor had to say.
He was not injured. There was no blood in him. I didn't see he was screaming or asking for help. He was just sitting in shock. And I don't think he needed any help.
Now, no charges have been laid as yet. We are expecting to hear an update from police later today, and we will bring you those details as soon as they come to hand.
OK, thanks, Andrew. We'll cross back to you then. Cruise ships will be banned from entering Australian waters until at least September, after Australian Border Force announced current restrictions would be extended. Any vessel capable of carrying more than 100 passengers is prohibited from operating cruises in Australia. The ban was meant to come to an end in June, but it's now been extended for another 3 months. There are currently no cruise ships left in our waters after the coronavirus-stricken Ruby Princess departed last month. President Donald Trump has caused confusion while revealing the results of his latest coronavirus test.
And I tested very positively in another sense. So this morning, I tested positively toward negative, right? So no, I tested perfectly this morning, meaning I tested negative.
Trump also antagonised the media during a tour of the Ford factory. We'll have more on that a little bit later in the bulletin. Wesfarmers has announced a sweeping restructure of its Target stores, one that could cost more than 1,000 jobs. Chris Myer reports the group isn't blaming coronavirus but says the pandemic hastened the shake-up.
Well, it's the first phase of what is a major overhaul of the struggling Target brand, which may affect up to 167 of its stores. Now, parent group Wesfarmers has announced drastic changes to its Target chain because of its unsustainable financial performance. The cut-price shops are described as well-loved but in need of real change. Up to 25 of the large format stores will close, 50 country Targets will shut. As many as 90 could be converted to the group's Kmart brand.
These changes are about making Kmart an even stronger business and a more compelling choice for customers.
It's expected 1,300 jobs will be lost. They may be redeployed, but the biggest concern is the effect on regional Target staff. Wesfarmers says the changes have not been forced by coronavirus, but they have been accelerated by it.
These decisions are in response to the ongoing structural change and disruption which has been occurring in the retail sector in recent years.
The cuts begin this year. The majority, though, take effect in 2021. The group's bosses say Target does have a future, but its focus now, it's clear, is on its successful Kmart brand and online sales.
Meanwhile, 3 New South Wales Myer stores have reopened their doors today after nearly 2 months without customers inside. Outlets at Blacktown, East Gardens and Charlestown are part of a trial of openings ahead of 35 more stores reopening next Wednesday. The retail giant has ramped up safety and cleaning measures and suspended some close contact services like shoe fitting. Temperatures across the state have plunged, causing early snowfalls in the Blue Mountains, Central West and Southern Highlands. Residents in Lithgow were delighted at the site as more snow is forecast over the coming days. Further south, our ski resorts are preparing for a bumper season ahead. Perisher and Thredbo have welcomed a government decision to lift the state travel ban, but have both announced they won't be opening for the June long weekend. Meanwhile, an east coast low is looming off Sydney's coast with dangerous surf building tonight. Damaging swell up to 5 metres is forecast for Sydney and the Illawarra. Gale force winds up to 90 kilometres an hour have been seen around the Royal National Park. This is the low currently spinning off Sydney. The system has already brought falls of up to 80 millimetres along the coast, with showers forecast to continue into tonight. Still to come in Sydney's afternoon news on 7. Head-on collision at a Western Sydney intersection. The nasty crash caught on camera. Claims of misconduct, allegations of an affair. Boris Johnson responds. And a raging inferno, no match for this life-saving hero. That's next.
Bateman's Bay Fire Brigade stood on top of that roof and wouldn't let this burn.
All donated. People are amazing.
Join Dr. Harry and see how our heartland is healing.
You give me a second chance.
New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
Some people have more important things to do than watch racing on a weekend. Some people. Catch every race this autumn with Sky Live Vision. Tab, long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
Hi, Chris. As one of our Care Super members, let's go see your super at work. Hold on. I'll show you some of the opportunities and possibilities that are being explored for you. Your super should work as hard as you do, so we're making sure it does.
Don't miss a moment. New by Solvin Duo Syrup is a 2-in-1 formula traditionally used to soothe an irritated throat and relieve an associated dry cough. By Solvin Duo. Moments uninterrupted. Available at selected retailers.
The world's most exotic fragrances are made by nature. That's why we've created Botanica fragrances, infused with natural ingredients that are responsibly sourced. Botanica by Airwick.
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zum zum.
The Beacon Frenzy sale is now on with 20% off all lights and fans. Update your home this winter and get 20% off every single light and fan this week only. Hurry, the Beacon Frenzy sale ends Sunday.
I always thought it was me, that I was the reason all these diets never worked.
This is genuinely not a temporary fix. There's some serious psychology behind it.
It's funny how much smarter I feel like Noom has made me. It's the simple things.
Once I understood why I was making those choices, it was easy for me to change those habits, and weight loss came naturally after that.
I've been on Noom for 4 months now. I've lost 27 pounds, and I feel like I got my life back.
Visit Noom.com and lose the weight for good.
Big day soon, and that dress is the one. So you might need to give up a few things, like smashed avocado. Put your savings into an IMB Bank reward saver. Whatever your goal, we'll help you get there.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
You're watching 7's 4 p.m. Sydney News, and this is the view from Cronulla, where it's 15 degrees this afternoon. There's been a nasty head-on crash in Western Sydney overnight. One driver ran a red light at Northmead intersection, slamming into another car. Security vision captured the encounter, which has left both vehicles crumpled. The driver of the Suzuki Swift was taken to hospital as investigations continue. A $12 million support package for the taxi industry has been announced by the state government as the sector struggles through the coronavirus pandemic. Drivers will be given a 50% discount on licence renewals and a $500 waiver for authorisation fees. Owners of over 3,000 wheelchair-accessible taxis will be eligible for a $2,900 subsidy per vehicle to go towards insurance, rego and on-road costs. The office of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has slammed an investigation into misconduct allegations, labelling it a waste of police time. Mr Johnson will not face a criminal investigation into his dealings with a US businesswoman dating back to when he was Mayor of London. Hugh Whitfield has more.
Boris Johnson has always denied any claims of impropriety during his time as Mayor of London, but this issue has dogged him for the last couple of months. The review was launched just before the general election last year. US businesswoman Jennifer Arcuri runs a tech company. While Boris Johnson was Mayor, she managed to secure about $250,000 worth of government grants and contracts and accompanied the then Mayor on trips overseas, trade missions to places like Singapore, Malaysia, New York and Tel Aviv. Both Boris Johnson and Jennifer Arcuri have refused to confirm or deny whether they were having an affair, but this review has found it is likely they were having an intimate relationship, and it may have led to officers who granted these monies to think it was a good idea to ensure that Ms Arcuri did receive a favourable attention. Nonetheless, this review has found that Boris Johnson hasn't done anything worth a criminal investigation, but he does face a further probe by the London Assembly that's looking into whether he always acted with honesty and integrity while he was Mayor.
Hugh Whitfield there. There are fears new national security laws proposed by Chinese could spark fresh violence in Hong Kong. Unrest in the region has taken a backseat to coronavirus in recent months, but that could all change with the Communist Party hinting at tightening its grip on Hong Kong.
Today, I think that it's the saddest day in Hong Kong history. It confirms one country, one system. It's so clear that it's a huge setback.
China has described the move as improving the law of Hong Kong. A true hero has jumped to action, rescuing an elderly woman from a burning building in Alabama. As residents fled and firefighters prepared to enter, Quinn Parrish took matters into his own hands.
They were saying that, you know, it's somebody else still in the building, somebody was screaming help. I felt the heat on the side of my face, I felt the heat on my arm. Y'all see what I got on.
Parrish's actions meant everyone escaped the burning apartment block alive. It's not just humans who have been forced to change the way they live and work. Guide Dogs Australia has also been forced to close its training facility. Instead, they're relying on an army of volunteers to implement strict protocols. Brian Seymour has been looking at how they're staying safe.
Yes, the lockdown has affected us all, but it's also impacted canines, in this case guide dogs, and they've had to take extraordinary measures to make sure their training hasn't been interrupted. Here in New South Wales, the main training facility at Glossadia had to be shut down due to the pandemic, so all those dogs, those puppies, have been sent back to their puppy raisers and volunteers in the community.
We had already said goodbye to Brian and handed him back, but then we got the phone call saying that everything had changed because of COVID.
18-month-old Brian is on track, hopefully, to become a guide dog. A lot of that depends on his trainer, Chelsea, being able to work in this new way to come to the house and collect him to do the training.
The way that we do it, we may disinfect a gate and open the gate and then get the dog from a yard, or we may have the person bring the dog out and put the dog in the van themselves and disinfecting it in between each person touching it.
Guide Dogs relies heavily on volunteers to do what they do, more than 1,000 across the country. And this is Volunteer Week, and today they caught up on Zoom to share their stories about how they're coping during the lockdown. Guide Dogs is one of those charities that relies on donations. It costs $50,000 and about 2 years to train a guide dog. So if you can give, now's the time.
Thank you, Brian. Next in 7's afternoon news, restrictions easing, students are back. So what does that mean for school sport? Details next. Door knocking goes online as the Salvos make a very different annual appeal. And in sport with Jim Wilson, another South Premiership star ready for a comeback to Rugby League.
Tonight on 7 News with Michael Usher.
When will 50 diners be allowed inside cafes and bars? The Target stores forced to close, and the Cambridges teased about their bingo hosting skills.
Tonight on 7 News at 6.
The racing is back.
A length and a half in front. He thrashes it, takes the lead.
See it all Saturday, live and free on 7.
I think at my stage of life, I've just become a grandmother. All of a sudden you realise, oh, gee, it doesn't matter if I won that match, but gee, it really matters if I had this bowel test. The screening test starts when you're 50. It goes through when you're 74. It's not painful, it's not invasive, it's not any of those things. You just have to prioritise it. You put it at the top of the list. Don't wait until you're 2 sets to love down. You want to be here to enjoy all that life has to offer. Go ahead, do the test.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
Rugby League hard man Corey Parker has won it all. He doesn't do gags, he doesn't do pranks, but he does play KFC Supercoach. Register today at supercoach.com.au.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
We remain dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. Call us to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
In difficult times, you need guidance from people you can trust. For over 40 years, Bryden's lawyers have been providing expert legal advice to Australians from all walks of life. Bryden's lawyers, we do commit, protect, succeed.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. In these uncertain economic times, who do you trust to protect your wealth? Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award winning wealth manager and leading credit specialist. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new service on the Optus $65 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months with 80 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. That's right. Sign up to a new service on the $65 per month 24-month Optus SIM-only plan and you'll receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card. Offer ends June 30. New services only, not available with other offers. Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer.
Go! The Salvation Army's Red Shield appeal is looking a little different this year. After more than 55 years of traditional door knocking, the fundraising effort is going digital because of coronavirus. Organisers are hoping to raise $8 million and anticipate more need for its services than ever before.
These funds are more important than ever before. The need is greater than we've ever seen. We have in parts of Australia 50% of increase in number of people coming to us.
Today now, go to the Salvo's website, salvationarmy.org.au, or call 13-SALVOS. As planning continues for the return of students to school sport, a wide range of restrictions have been flagged to ensure kids stay safe. Tom Saker's been working on this. Tom, competition is going to look very different.
That's right, Sally. There are some sporting associations so desperate to get kids back in the game, they're going to extraordinary lengths to prove they do have safe playing fields. Some of the more bizarre rules include replacing the basketball tip-off with rock, paper, scissors to avoid contact. Game and training balls will be disinfected, high fives will be out of the question, and change rooms will be off limits. New South Wales Rugby League have some difficult obstacles to overcome when it comes to contact training. They have forbidden tackling until July when they hope competition resumes, and they'll have to maintain 1.5 metres social distancing in training. But there also appears to be a lot of confusion from administrators who have pointed to professional sports resuming as normal and students returning to school who don't have to abide by the same social distancing guidelines.
It's totally inconsistent. I don't know what the difference is.
And Sally, we'll have more on this story tonight at 6.
It's time for sport now with Jim Wilson. Hello to you, Jim. Cody Walker remains in a holding pattern over his immediate playing future.
Thought it would be resolved this afternoon, but it hasn't been. Sal, good afternoon to you. Afternoon, everyone. The NRL Integrity Unit is yet to make a call on Cody Walker and possible sanctions over his involvement in a street fighting casino in December last year. Now, Souths coach Wayne Bennett is also facing a potential fine for not disclosing information about the incident. Walker's teammates remained hopeful.
Obviously, it's something that he's not proud of. He's remorseful for everything that's happened. So we've left it there and let the powers that be deal with it.
Now, here's some good news for Souths, with James Roberts out of rehab and a chance to play against the Roosters next Friday night. The referees and NRL will head to arbitration at the Fair Work Commission over the weekend over their dispute relating to the push for one referee to officiate in matches this season. And we're one-on-one with highly respected whistleblower Bill Hollywood Harrigan in 7 News at 6. Let's see what Bill thinks about, is he ready for a comeback to the game? That's coming your way, 7 News at 6 o'clock. There was an intimidating figure to put all rivals on notice training on Broncos turf today. Dual international powerhouse Ben Teo is still contracted to Japan's Sunwolves, but they're expected to fold next week, unable to return to the Super Rugby season. The Broncos want Teo back.
It just reminds me of the old days. I enjoy the hard training and, it's going to benefit me whatever I do next.
33-year-old Teo played in South's 2014 Premiership team before playing 18 tests for England and Rugby Union and the British and Irish Lions. Swans players say they'll have no problem jumping on board with the Giants to get playing again. They finished their first week back at training today and are expected to share charter flights with their Sydney rivals when the competition resumes on June the 11th.
Oh yeah, it'd be probably something we're not used to, but as I said before, I think everyone would be pretty keen to get footy going again.
Will Hayward's in the group, learning from the great Stevie J. Steve Johnson, the Cats great, Norm Smith medalist. They can start contact training next week and expect the new fixture to be revealed on Monday. Cricket Australia boss Kevin Roberts has confirmed the Australian men's tour of England this year could be back on. Roberts has been in communication with his English counterpart over a possible white ball tour in September, but it will hinge on the success of the Pakistan and West Indies tour scheduled for July, which we played in biosecure hubs. Roberts also confirmed India's tour of Australia will almost certainly go ahead this summer, and that is terrific news. Well, one of the most promising racehorses in the country will headline 7 Saturday racing coverage tomorrow. Chris Waller's Boom 3-year-old Canaan, a dominant winner of the Frank Packer Plate during the championships in Sydney, is the hot favourite for the Gunsynd Classic at Eagle Farm in Brisbane, which begins their winter racing carnival.
I guess he's got to go to another level. What he beat in the Frank Packer Plate, we're not sure.
7 Saturday racing coverage with Bruce and the team includes all the action from the Randwick, Flemington and Eagle Farm meetings. Just check your local guides. For some people, life in lockdown has given them plenty of time to practice, including 5-year-old Californian Caden Kessler, whose baseball pitching skills have gone viral in the US.
Don't try this at home, folks.
That had to be his mum gasping there.
So good. How good's Caden? Despite his young age, his pitching is even strong enough to break a watermelon, earning him a sweet treat. He is a star.
At least he's eating it.
Exactly right. Yeah, nutritional. We've got more sport coming your way at 6 o'clock, Sal.
All right. Thanks,
okay.
Jim. See you then.
Okay.
This afternoon's top stories are next. As rules ease for pubs and clubs, the latest from the Premier, what it means for the industry. Positively negative, but no mask for Trump. The president's confusing message is next. And on top of the world, we get an exclusive look on a momentous day for Sydney's tallest building.
As you're waking,
country emerges from hibernation.
There's one sure way to know you're across what's unfolding. It's on Sunrise.
When will domestic travel be on the cards again?
Bringing you what's important.
An influx of commuters emerge.
Breaking down the headlines.
There's some really, really capable people out there who've lost their jobs.
Connecting you with our decision makers.
Relations between Australia and China appear pretty dire.
The team Australia turns to are on Sunrise.
There are two ways to choose a new SUV. Old thinking? Buy what you've always bought. New thinking? Buy one on merit, like the Havel H2. Old? Pay a lot more for premium features. New? 7-year warranty, panoramic sunroof, Apple CarPlay and more for your money. Old? Low price means less quality. New? German engineering, Swedish safety tech and European design. Havel H2 Auto. New car thinking from $22,990.
She loves cats. So tonight, I'll borrow my neighbor's. My babies.
Temptations cat treats.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new service on the Optus $65 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months with 80 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. That's right. Sign up to a new service on the $65 per month 24-month Optus SIM-only plan and you'll receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card. Offer ends June 30. New services only, not available with other offers. Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer.
Unlike most modems, Telstra's smart modem is cleverly backed up by Australia's best 4G network. So if the connection to your house stops, your home Wi-Fi won't, giving you Australia's most reliable home Wi-Fi. To experience better Wi-Fi, visit telstra.com today.
If you're looking for a simple home loan with a great low rate, then walk this way. With a RAMS Essential Home Loan, you can enjoy both. Backed by our famous silver service. RAMS, greater together.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
Returning to our earlier breaking news, the number of people on JobKeeper has been revised down by 3 million after businesses made significant errors in their applications. Treasury's revealed about 1,000 companies wrote 1,500, the amount they expected workers to receive, instead of writing the number of their employees. It means the cost to taxpayers is far less, now $70 billion instead of $130 billion. There are already calls for the leftover funds to be used to extend JobKeeper to workers originally left out. Meanwhile, the Premier has announced the most significant change to social restrictions yet, with pubs and restaurants set to be allowed up to 50 patrons at a time. Let's go live to Serena Andaloro. Good morning, good afternoon rather to you, Serena. This is huge news, not just for customers, but for the entire hospitality industry.
Yeah, Sally, it's a breath of fresh air for struggling businesses. From June 1, restaurants, cafes, clubs and pubs will be allowed to accommodate up to 50 people, provided they are all seated. Now, it's also a condition that there is one person per 4 square metres. Social distancing will be policed. The state government very keen to bring back jobs, but in a safe fashion. Vulnerable people should also think twice before going out. They did stress that. Now, the Premier did call last month's job losses a disaster.
We know this is a big step, but the regulations and rules we'll be putting in place will be very strict to make sure safety is paramount. You have to be seated at the table, you have to be served at the table, there is no mingling, no standing around. The last thing we want to do is have to shut businesses down because they haven't complied.
And Serena, you've been out speaking with local businesses. What's the reaction been like?
Well, Sally, they all agree this is a big step in the right direction. For some smaller restaurants, it actually means a return somewhat to normality. But for larger clubs, it means finally opening again, accommodating 50 people in their various eateries. But we did speak to some clubs who say it's not financially viable to open even for 50 people. Here's what some local businesses had to say about the decision.
It's almost Christmas come early for us. We've been trying to make do doing what we had to do with the 10 people. It hasn't been easy doing delivery and takeaway, but now at least get some normality back.
Other businesses also keen for their own round of relief.
I bet they are. OK, thanks very much, Serena Andaloro, there for us. Another major planning project has been unveiled by the state government to help us emerge from the COVID-19 slump. It's promising a $5 billion boost to the economy and more than 15,000 jobs. To state political reporter Alex Hart. Alex, not everyone's thrilled.
Well, Sally, as you can see here, there is plenty of opposition to one project on the government's latest fast-track list, a plan to rezone an existing business site here in West Pennant Hills so that 600 homes and apartments can be built. The local council rejected the proposal last November after receiving thousands of complaints, but now it's back on the agenda.
What they have done is they've betrayed us. The state government has betrayed us.
It just seems to me crazy to put more residential right next to some critically endangered forest.
This is the wrong project in the wrong place.
Not all of the 24 projects are as controversial. There are 3 new schools shortlisted and plenty of business developments. If all are approved, the government estimates they'll contribute $5 billion to the state's economy and create more than 15,000 jobs.
This is all about setting up a pipeline of projects to power us into recovery.
The opposition, though, is worried about cost blowouts. The budget for a new Tweed hospital on the list has blown out by $90 million.
That's taxpayers' money that now can't be used to upgrade emergency departments, new schools or improvements to public transport right across New South Wales.
Only one of 24 projects on the government's first fast-track list was rejected. The people here say they'll do everything they can to ensure this proposal is rejected as well. Sally.
Thank you, Alex. The man behind the wheel of a car that ploughed into a Greenacre shop yesterday afternoon has been rearrested. The 51-year-old is expected to be charged after he was interviewed by police but released. 10 people were hurt when the Mitsubishi smashed through the glass and into the store. Witnesses have today spoken of chaotic scenes.
There was a lot of glass pieces. There were 3 girls here in shock, bleeding from legs. And then I went inside to see if there's anyone trapped.
Crash investigators are still trying to fully understand what happened. An accused wife killer has appeared in court for the first time since being charged with murder. He's alleged to have stabbed his 27-year-old wife to death at their home in Quakers Hill on Tuesday.
Justice Health will conduct a mental health assessment.
Has he said anything to you about how he's holding up or said anything about his wife at all?
No further comments.
Only 4 weeks ago, police slapped the accused with a restraining order, but it didn't prevent him from living in the same house as his wife. Radio legend Alan Jones is understood to be considering legal action against his employers at Nine over a newspaper article that accused of him encouraging sexual violence. The editorial in the Sydney Morning Herald has since changed the wording online to encouraging violence against women and issued a correction. But Jones, who will next week sign off from his record-rating breakfast show on 2GB, is reportedly furious. Donald Trump has ignited a new row in the United States over his refusal to wear a face mask in public. As Ashley Mullaney reports, the president was spotted in a mask during a Ford factory tour, but wouldn't wear it in front of the media.
The president's campaign rallies may be on hold for now, but his factory tours in battleground states are proving the next best thing. Donald Trump today in Michigan, where he faced more questions about his personal mask policy. Behind the scenes with executives at Ford's factory, he was snapped in a mask complete with a presidential seal, but defied the governor's orders and the company's policy to keep it on for the entire visit, telling the press he'd been tested earlier in the day.
I wore one in this back area, but I didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing it. I tested very positively in another sense. So this morning, I tested positively toward negative, right? So, no, I tested perfectly this morning, meaning I tested negative.
The president is eager to get Americans back to work, with unemployment figures today showing jobless claims hitting 38 million in just 9 weeks. But the virus is still spreading, with fears some hospitals are still facing a shortage of ICU beds. Days after announcing his plan to fast-track vaccine development with Operation Warp Speed and a commitment to work with other countries, promising signs of global cooperation, with the US pumping $1 billion into a vaccine program at the Oxford University in the UK, now moving ahead with human trials.
Now to pictures that you'll only see on 7 News as a Sydney skyscraper reaches a giant milestone. As Cameron Price reports, it's now officially taken the title as the city's tallest building.
Yeah, good afternoon. Standing at 275 metres tall and 71 stories, Crown Tower at Barangaroo has now reached its highest point. Today's topping out ceremony, the culmination of 4 years construction work, with the structure now taking the title as Sydney's tallest building.
It has transformed the western side of Sydney, and for years to come this will be seen as a fantastic development and as a premium product.
Despite the pandemic and problems associated with it, the hotel is still on track to open ahead of schedule in December. And that means from next month they will start hiring. More than 2,000 positions available for those from some of the industries that have been hardest hit during the shutdown.
There's about 700 different roles, so obviously a big focus on hospitality, so restaurants, bars, as well as the hotel.
Construction was the driving force of the New South Wales economy before the pandemic, and it's going to be the driving force out of it.
As for guests coming for the opening, with international restrictions still potentially in place, Crown admits it is prepared for the possibility borders will be shut, and that means locals and interstate tourists will benefit.
Cam Price there. We're live to ComSec for the latest on your money next. Plus, car yards gathering dust. Why there's never been a better time to buy. Royal Bingo as Will and Kate join the nursing home fun. And it's 14 degrees at Campbelltown. We'll have your weekend forecast soon.
I'm your dad.
Is the bloke legit?
He says he is. Why'd you choose now to come and find me? You're just taking me for a ride.
When he finds out the true reason his dad's here, it could break his heart.
You need to tell him what's going on.
All I can do is protect him from me hurting him.
But that's exactly what you're doing. You know, if you don't tell him, I will.
Home and Away, next week at 7 on 7.
The drought in Queensland and New South Wales right now is one of the worst in our history.
When the Trebins farm hadn't seen much rain in years, Alicia helped arrange finance for vital equipment. And they all saw water for the first time in a long time.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That's the Suncorp spirit.
Bye. Shut up and take my money.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Your Ford dealer is still open and ready to help your business get back to business with high-vis value. So you can get a hard-working Ranger XLT for only $54,990 drive away, or the great value Ranger XLS for just $46,490 drive away. And don't forget to check if your business is eligible for the government's instant asset write-off this financial year. So hurry into your Ford dealer now for high-vis value.
All of the music.
Yeah. Oh.
Who's this?
You'll make a great dad one day.
You think so?
I know so.
Elevate has more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Love grows with Elevate.
What am I looking forward to? Well, I just really want what I have today.
The more life changes, the more you know what's important. MLC.
Rugby League hard man Corey Parker has won it all. He doesn't do gags, he doesn't do pranks, but he does play KFC Supercoach. Register today at supercoach.com.au.
A giant offer.
$60,000.
Will cause a giant upset. But for who? New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
As the UK enters another week of coronavirus lockdown, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are trying their best to lift spirits. William and Kate played bingo via a video call with elderly residents at a nursing home.
6 and 2, tickety-boo.
Yay! You won the bingo.
After taking turns calling out the numbers, they made sure to chat with residents and their carers afterwards. Time to check finance now with James Tower at CommSec. Hello to you, James. How did the local share market close out the week?
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Sally. Not a great finish to the week, unfortunately. The ASX 200 ending lower now for a second successive session, down about 53 points, or just shy of 1%. But over the course of the week, still higher by around 1.7%, and that's now 4 straight weeks of gains. So what we've seen more recently is the fact that rising US tensions between US and China, are certainly just weighing on investor sentiment at the moment. Today, we saw pretty much every single sector in negative territory. The energy and healthcare sectors were by far the worst, down more than 2% each. Wesfarmers today relatively unchanged after announcing the changes to its target stores, and the Aussie dollar also a little bit weaker today. It's down to about 65.3 US cents, Sally.
OK, thank you very much, James Tower. CommSec for us this afternoon. Many businesses have been battered by the coronavirus pandemic, and for car dealers, the month of April was one they'd rather forget, with sales well down and vehicles left gathering dust. But as Tim Hatfield reports, industry experts say there's never been a better time to buy.
David Vincent has been in the used car game for almost 20 years. In that time, he's faced plenty of tough times, but nothing quite like the COVID pandemic. He went from selling 60 cars a week to just 10.
The inquiry just literally stopped. We didn't expect it to happen as dramatically and as quickly as it did.
With the bills piling up, there was only one option.
We've had to drop the prices. A lot of these cars have been reduced to what we paid for them pre-COVID.
April has been a torrid month for the industry as a whole. Some dealerships have shut, others, like David's, have been forced to shed staff. New car sales have fallen especially hard by almost 50% compared to the same time last year. But if you're looking to buy, experts say there's never been a better time.
Either buy a vehicle, service or repair a vehicle, because there is availability and there is stock.
But the industry's fortunes may be looking up. Carsales.com says its own survey of almost 3,000 Australians shows that social distancing is making us rethink the use of busy public transport. It found 60% of people who don't own a car are now more likely to consider buying one.
They want to use their transport, their mode of transport, as a sort of mobile quarantine, basically.
Tim Hatfield, 7 News.
Sydney 6 p.m. news is coming up with Michael Usher. Hello to you, Michael. What are you working on in the newsroom?
Hello there, Sally. Here's what we have for you tonight. Many more cafes, bars and restaurants will soon be opening after the government announced 50 people can now be allowed inside. But some still say it's not viable. At 6, the new rules and when they come into force. $60 billion cheaper, the reporting stuff up that means the JobKeeper program won't cost nearly as much. Reaction to the major embarrassment for the government. The Greenacre driver released and then re-arrested, the charges he's facing and the latest on how the victims are recovering. Residents in West Pennant Hills angry at the government for giving the green light to a housing development, why they say it'll ruin their community. Plus, William and Kate call bingo numbers for aged care residents in Wales, but the players, Sally, had a bit of a stinging critique of their performance. Haven't played bingo in years. You'd like that game, I guess, though?
Legs 11, love it.
There you go. All right, so
see you then. It's 4:48. Let's get a check on Sydney's traffic.
Good afternoon, Marina Ivanovic here in the Sydney Blinds and Screens traffic chopper. If you're heading through Wiley Park, we've got a truck broken down for King George's Road, causing lots of northbound delays. As you can see, it's stuck in the left lane. And a little bit further north, heading southbound, we've got another breakdown in the left lane. It's a car with delays behind that as well. Change your blinds with Sydney Blinds and Screens this change of season with massive savings across a huge range. Visit sydneyblinds.com.au for more today, and a friendly reminder to wear gloves when filling up at the petrol station. The sinking of the Titanic remains one of the world's most studied and fascinating tragedies. Now a salvage company is being granted permission to cut open the wreckage, revealing secrets from the deep. It's a decision that has infuriated maritime experts.
It's the most famous maritime disaster in history. Titanic's grim fate, the subject of one of Hollywood's most successful blockbusters.
We're gonna make it, Rose! Trust me!
The RMS Titanic was on its maiden voyage from England to New York when it struck an iceberg and sunk, killing 1,500 people on board. For 108 years, the ship has been resting 4 kilometres below sea level in the North Atlantic Ocean, untouched. But now that's about to change.
There is great concern that this is just a glorified form of grave robbing.
This week, US Judge Rebecca Smith ruled a salvage firm can retrieve the Marconi wireless telegraph machine that broadcast distress calls.
It was put best by a Marconi historian friend of mine who called it the voice of the Titanic.
The company will cut into the hull this year with the machine to be put on public display once retrieved. A decision met with fury.
Because the ship, the Titanic, is the gravesite for over 1,500 people, they gave guarantees that they would never actually penetrate the hull of the ship. They now have gone back on their word.
Private salvage company Titanic RMS Inc. are the legal owners of the site and say the radio system remains an unsung hero, responsible for countless generations of families. However, experts say the glory belongs only with the brave crew.
I think the unsung heroes are the wireless operators themselves.
It was essentially every man for themselves by that point, which was the tradition of the sea. And yet these 2 wireless operators stayed at that key until virtually the very end.
Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Next in 7's afternoon, we'll have the all-important weekend weather forecast.
I have been watching you, Matt.
I've lived in Quakers Hill my whole life. Bloody flies. Born and bred in the country.
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here. You really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you. Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Matt, it's not about being likeable. It's about doing whatever I say.
It's a game. You got to remember that.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
Big Brother, what are you playing at?
Who wins? You decide.
How well your kitchen performs depends what's under the hood. Unlike range hoods with mesh filters, Whisper's S-Flow baffle filtration system means grease doesn't clog, maximising extraction, minimising noise. Proudly Australian Whisper. Available in-store and online.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
You've got a lot of living to do in retirement. Are you confident you can pay for it? Using part of your super or savings, add a Challenger lifetime annuity to your retirement income and you'll enjoy guaranteed income for life, helping to cover your living costs. So like thousands of other retirees, you too can look forward with confidence. Find out more at challenger.com.au.
Dad!
Oh, sorry.
Just wait.
It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose. Shh.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
This year has been hard for all Australians, leaving many feeling scared, anxious and uncertain about the future.
So imagine how much harder it is for homeless and vulnerable Australians who don't have ways to protect themselves.
When you donate to Mission Australia, you're investing a seed of hope in Australia's most vulnerable. It may be somebody close to you or someone you know. There's never been a more important time to support them. Donate now at missionaustralia.com.au.
One giant contender.
You've got through 13 questions in a minute, which is going to make you a danger man.
One giant offer.
$60,000. And here I am, David versus Goliath.
All leading to one giant upset.
What happened?
But for who? Knew the chase. Coming up next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
OK, we have some breaking news now in the NRL. We'll cross live to Jim Wilson. Jim, what can you tell us?
Yeah, good afternoon, Sal. We can confirm that Cody Walker from South Sydney has been suspended for 2 matches. It means that he will miss 2 crucial matches for South Sydney. Next Friday night against the Premiers, the Roosters, and then the following week against the Melbourne Storm as a result of his involvement in that street fight in Casino in December last year. Now, South Sydney have also been fined $20,000. We're yet to get official notification from the NRL, but this is our understanding that Cody Walker suspended for 2 matches. South Sydney fined $20,000. That's a big blow for the Bunnies as far as the next couple of weeks is concerned, losing their star playmaker. More of this developing story in 7 News at 6 o'clock, Sal.
OK, thanks for that, Jim.
OK.
Let's have a quick check of the weather now around the capital cities for tomorrow. Brisbane, a little bit of cloud, 17 degrees, some showers for Sydney and 17. Canberra, 12 degrees, 15 degrees into Melbourne. Adelaide, 17 degrees and a little bit of cloud and showers at times. Perth will be warm and sunny though, a top of 27 degrees expected, while Darwin will see a touch of cloud tomorrow with a top of 26 degrees. And that is Sydney's 4 p.m. news for this Friday. Michael Usher will bring you 7 News at 6. I'm Sally Barry. Stay with 7 Now for the Chase Australia. I hope you have a great night.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
We're here.
We're here. Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right.
Oh. This isn't our house.
Oh my God.
In the transformation of the year.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God.
It's all for Mum.
Oh my goodness. It's so different.
I think this is probably the best bathroom we've seen on House Rules.
They will do their best reno yet.
There's so much to see. I can't take it all in.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
I love everything. Things I never thought I'd have. And I'll be forever grateful. I don't deserve this. This is just... It's too much for one person to have. Amazing, memorable. Wow. Thank you just doesn't seem enough. A part of you will always be in the house with us forever.
Mum's dream home will be revealed on House Rules on 7. The unmissable whole house reveal, Sunday at 7.
These 4 strangers must work as a team to win thousands of dollars. But standing in their way is one of the sharpest minds in Australia, the Chaser. The chase is on. Welcome to the Chase Australia. Great to have your company as always. You know, sometimes we have the classic mix